Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in all of our lives when disappearing, retreating into the quiet becomes essential. Not as a way of giving up, but as a powerful act of self-preservation, renewal, and growth. This is not about running away. It's about stepping back from the noise, the demands, and the expectations of the world so we can reconnect with the parts of ourselves we've neglected. We live in a culture that praises constant visibility. We're encouraged to always be doing, producing, sharing, posting, achieving. But there's something profoundly important about embracing stillness, about disappearing from the public eye for a while so we can realign with our true selves. It's in that space where we can hear the quieter truths of who we are and who we're meant to be. Disappearing doesn't mean we're less brave or capable. It means we are strong enough to acknowledge when it's time to recharge, reassess, and refocus. Sometimes we have to disappear in order to come back more fully as ourselves. So let me invite you today to consider the power of disappearing not as an escape, but as an intentional pause. The magic isn't in the constant grind, but in the moments when we step back, reflect, and gather ourselves before moving forward again with clarity and purpose. We often think success means always being visible, but sometimes the most transformative growth happens when we disappear from the world to rest and recharge. It takes true courage to step away from the expectations placed on us by society, work, and even ourselves. This isn't about quitting, it's about gaining the strength to return with more clarity. Disappearing creates the space to reconnect with our authentic selves, away from external pressures. It's a chance to rediscover who we are beneath the roles we play. In a world of constant noise, there's a deep power in choosing silence. Disappearing allows us to listen to the whispers of intuition and creativity that get drowned out by daily demands. Stepping back isn't something we do just once. It can be a regular practice, a way to ensure we're living in alignment with our values and not losing ourselves in the pursuit of productivity. After we've disappeared and done the inner work, we come back with more focus, direction, and purpose. We're clearer about what matters and how we want to show up in the world. Disappearing teaches us to set boundaries that protect our energy, creativity, and well-being. It reminds us that we don't owe anyone constant access to us. Our presence should be intentional, not obligatory. We live in a world that glorifies busyness. The more we're seen, the more we're validated. It's almost as if we've been trained to believe that being visible, constantly producing, sharing, and performing is the ultimate measure of our worth. But what if the real transformation happens when we give ourselves permission to step out of the spotlight? Disappearing isn't about hiding or giving up. It's about giving ourselves the grace to pause. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is to retreat not out of fear, but out of a deep need to reset. Life has a way of overwhelming us with its constant demands and expectations, and if we don't take the time to pull back and recenter, we risk losing touch with who we are and what we truly want. When we disappear for a while, we give ourselves the opportunity to breathe deeply, to listen to that still, small voice inside that often gets drowned out in the noise of everyday life. We make space for reflection, for healing, and for the kind of growth that only happens when we're not constantly on. It's about realizing that our worth isn't tied to how much we produce or how often we're seen, but in our ability to honor our own needs, to rest, and to refocus. This act of disappearing becomes a reset and intentional break that allows us to come back more fully, more aligned, and more grounded. We return not because we're expected to, but because we've found a new sense of clarity and purpose in the pause. It's in the quiet moments of retreat where we rediscover our strength, our direction, and the courage to move forward again on our own terms. Disappearing for a while is a radical act of self-care. It's a reminder that we don't need to be in the spotlight to matter. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to step back, trust the process, and allow ourselves to reset in a way that nurtures our spirit and prepares us for what's next. Stepping back requires a kind of courage that often goes unrecognized. We're taught from a young age that bravery is about pushing forward, charging ahead, and persevering at all costs. But there's another form of courage that's just as important, though far less celebrated: the courage to step back, to say, I need a break, or this isn't working for me right now. This kind of courage isn't loud or dramatic. It's quieter, more introspective, and deeply personal. It's about recognizing when we've reached our limits, not as a sign of weakness, but as a mark of self-awareness. In a world that constantly tells us to keep going, stepping back can feel like rebellion. It can feel like we're breaking some unwritten rule that says our value is tied to how much we can endure. But real courage is knowing when to stop, when to pull away, and when to put ourselves first. It takes bravery to face the discomfort that comes with stepping back. We worry about what others will think, whether they'll see us as lazy, unmotivated, or incapable. But the truth is, stepping back is often a sign of wisdom. It's the ability to recognize that we can't pour from an empty cup, and that continuing down a path that's burning us out isn't noble, it's self-destructive. Choosing to step back means valuing ourselves enough to prioritize our well-being over the expectations of others. It means understanding that growth doesn't always look like forward motion. Sometimes the most profound progress comes when we retreat, reflect, and recharge. It's in those moments of stillness where we gain clarity about what really matters and where we want to go next. And yes, it's hard. It takes real strength to step away from the noise, the demands, and the constant pressure to perform. But that's where the magic happens. When we give ourselves permission to pause, to breathe, and to just be, we create the space for new ideas, new insights, and new energy to emerge. Stepping back is an act of self-compassion, a declaration that we are worthy of rest and reflection. So in a world that glorifies hustle, it takes courage to say, not now, I need to take care of me first. But in doing so, we're not just surviving, we're setting ourselves up to thrive on our own terms. That's real bravery. Reconnecting with authenticity is a journey that often requires us to step away from the distractions and demands of the outside world. In our fast-paced lives, it's all too easy to lose sight of who we truly are beneath the roles we play and the masks we wear. We become so focused on meeting the expectations of others, fitting in, and striving for external validation that we forget to nurture our own inner voice. When we allow ourselves the time and space to disappear, we create the perfect conditions for rediscovering our authentic selves. This process often begins with a gentle invitation to listen to our feelings, our passions, and our desires. It's about creating a safe space where we can explore what truly resonates with us, free from the noise of judgment and comparison. Authenticity isn't a destination, it's a continuous process of self-discovery. It requires us to be honest about our feelings, our fears, and our dreams. When we disappear from the constant pressure to perform or conform, we can begin to peel back the layers that society has placed on us. We can examine the beliefs we've internalized and determine which ones genuinely reflect who we are and which ones simply serve to hold us back. In reconnecting with our authentic selves, we also learn to embrace vulnerability. This means acknowledging our imperfections and accepting that it's okay to be a work in progress. It's in those moments of vulnerability where we find our strength, the courage to express our true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. We start to understand that authenticity is not about being perfect, it's about being real. This journey back to authenticity can be both liberating and frightening. It may challenge us to let go of relationships, habits, or environments that no longer serve us. But as we navigate this path, we also discover the profound beauty that comes from being our true selves. We begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with our values and passions, creating a life that feels more fulfilling and meaningful. Reconnecting with authenticity is about reclaiming our voice and owning our story. It's about understanding that our worth is inherent, not contingent on external approval. When we embrace who we are at our core, we become empowered to live boldly and unapologetically, paving the way for deeper connections with ourselves and others. In essence, the journey to authenticity is an ongoing commitment to honoring our true selves. It invites us to stand firm in our values, to express our truths, and to embrace the unique qualities that make us who we are. And while the path may not always be easy, the rewards of living authentically are immeasurable. It's in that authenticity that we find our true power and our most profound joy. In a world that thrives on constant chatter and the relentless buzz of notifications, silence often feels foreign or even intimidating. We're conditioned to fill every moment with noise, whether it's music, social media, or the incessant hum of conversation. Yet within that silence lies a profound source of power that many of us overlook. When we allow ourselves to step into silence, we create a sanctuary for reflection and introspection. It's in this quiet space that we can truly listen not just to our thoughts, but to the deeper wisdom that resides within us. Silence offers a reprieve from the chaos, allowing us to tune in to our feelings, our desires, and our innermost truths. It invites us to explore the questions we often rush past in our busy lives. What do I really want? What am I truly feeling? What matters most to me? This pause, this embrace of silence, can be a catalyst for creativity. When we silence the external distractions, we open the door to new ideas and insights. Many of the world's greatest thinkers and innovators have spoken about the importance of quiet time for generating their most brilliant thoughts. Silence allows our minds to wander and connect dots that may have seemed disconnected in the midst of noise. It fosters an environment where intuition can flourish, guiding us toward decisions that feel authentic and aligned with our true selves. Moreover, silence can be a powerful tool for connection. In a society that often prioritizes speaking over listening, taking the time to be silent creates space for genuine engagement. When we allow ourselves to be present in silence, we give others permission to do the same. This deep listening fosters vulnerability and trust, encouraging others to share their own truths and experiences without fear of interruption or judgment. In those moments, silence becomes a shared language that deepens our relationships and strengthens our bonds. However, stepping into silence requires courage. It means confronting the discomfort that often comes with stillness, the racing thoughts, the self-doubt, and the nagging insecurities that can surface when we finally slow down. But in facing this discomfort, we also confront the stories we tell ourselves. We start to unravel the beliefs that no longer serve us and recognize that silence is not an absence, but a presence that invites growth, healing, and clarity. In embracing silence, we reclaim our power. We learn that we don't need to fill every space with words or action to validate our existence. Instead, we discover that our worth is inherent, rooted in our ability to be present with ourselves and with others. Silence becomes a powerful ally, a reminder that in stillness we find strength, resilience, and a deeper connection to our authentic selves. So, as we navigate our lives filled with distractions and demands, let's not forget the immense power of silence. Let's allow ourselves to disappear into it from time to time, knowing that in those moments we are not lost, we are simply discovering the depth of who we are. In the embrace of silence, we unlock the potential to transform our lives and the lives of those around us. Intentional disappearance is more than just a fleeting retreat, it's a vital practice that fosters personal growth and emotional resilience. In our fast-paced world where busyness is often equated with productivity and self-worth, carving out time for intentional disappearance can feel countercultural. Yet, it is within this very act of stepping away that we can nurture our well-being and reconnect with our true selves. Embracing intentional disappearance begins with the understanding that we don't always have to be on. We're conditioned to feel guilty for taking time away, whether it's from work, social obligations, or even our devices. However, allowing ourselves to intentionally step back is an act of self-compassion, not selfishness. It's recognizing that we are human beings, not human doings, and that our value isn't tied solely to our output or visibility. This practice involves setting clear intentions about when and how we will disappear. It might mean scheduling regular breaks to unplug from technology, creating quiet moments for reflection, or even taking longer retreats to recharge. The key is to be deliberate about it. By making a conscious choice to disappear, we signal to ourselves that our well-being matters, that we deserve the space to breathe, think, and simply be. When we embrace intentional disappearance, we cultivate the ability to reflect on our lives and our choices. We create opportunities to check in with ourselves, to ask the hard questions, and to listen deeply to our needs and desires. In these moments of stillness, we often uncover insights that elude us in the chaos of everyday life. It's a time to explore our passions, to dream, and to reconnect with the parts of ourselves that may have been overshadowed by the hustle and bustle. Furthermore, this practice fosters resilience. Life can be overwhelming, and the challenges we face can sometimes feel insurmountable. By intentionally disappearing, we give ourselves the chance to recharge our emotional batteries. We return from these moments of retreat not just refreshed, but with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. This resilience allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with a greater sense of calm and confidence. Intentional disappearance also serves as a powerful reminder of our boundaries. In a culture that often encourages overcommitment and constant availability, choosing to disappear sends a message that our time and energy are precious. It teaches us to prioritize what truly matters and to say no to the things that drain us. Setting these boundaries is a form of self-respect, affirming that we are worthy of rest and rejuvenation. As we practice intentional disappearance, we not only nurture ourselves but also inspire those around us. By prioritizing our own well-being, we model the importance of self-care for others. We encourage our friends, family, and colleagues to do the same, creating a ripple effect that promotes a healthier, more balanced way of living. In essence, intentional disappearance is a commitment to ourselves, a promise to honor our needs, our dreams, and our journey. It's about recognizing that by stepping away, we can return with a deeper sense of clarity, purpose, and authenticity. This practice is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey, reminding us that it's okay to disappear, to reflect, and to emerge renewed. In doing so, we cultivate the strength and wisdom necessary to navigate our lives with grace and intention. Disappearing to return with clarity is an essential concept that emphasizes the transformative power of stepping back from the chaos of life. In a culture that often equates constant activity with success, the idea of intentionally disappearing may feel foreign, even daunting. Yet, it's in these moments of retreat that we can truly gain perspective and understand our paths forward. When we choose to disappear, we create a sacred space for reflection. This process allows us to pause, breathe, and reassess our lives without the distractions of daily demands. In this stillness, we begin to sift through the noise, identifying what truly matters and what does not. It's an opportunity to untangle the complexities of our emotions, our relationships, and our goals. The clarity that emerges from this introspection is invaluable. It enables us to see our situations more objectively and with fresh eyes. In moments of quiet, we can also confront the fears and doubts that often cloud our judgment. We allow ourselves to sit with uncomfortable emotions rather than pushing them aside or masking them with activity. This practice of vulnerability is essential. By acknowledging our feelings, whether they be anxiety, sadness, or confusion, we can begin to understand their roots and the messages they carry. In doing so, we empower ourselves to make decisions that align with our values rather than reacting from a place of fear. As we return from our time of disappearance, we often find that we are equipped with new insights. Clarity emerges not just from the absence of noise, but from the active engagement in self-discovery. We may realize that certain relationships no longer serve us, or that our professional aspirations need to be redefined. We may also discover hidden passions or talents that we've neglected in the hustle of daily life. This newfound clarity serves as a compass, guiding us toward paths that feel more authentic and fulfilling. Moreover, disappearing doesn't mean we are abandoning our responsibilities. Rather, it allows us to approach them with renewed energy and intention. When we return with clarity, we're better equipped to set boundaries, prioritize our commitments, and say no to the things that drain us. This alignment between our actions and our values fosters a sense of empowerment, reminding us that we are in control of our choices. It's also essential to recognize that the journey toward clarity is ongoing. Life is dynamic, and as we grow and evolve, our understanding of ourselves and our paths will continue to change. Regularly practicing intentional disappearance can help us stay attuned to these shifts, allowing us to recalibrate when necessary. This doesn't mean we'll have all the answers, but it does mean we'll be more equipped to navigate uncertainty with grace and resilience. Ultimately, disappearing to return with clarity is about honoring the ebb and flow of our lives. It's about recognizing that we don't need to have it all figured out at every moment. Instead, we can trust the process, embrace the pauses, and allow ourselves the grace to explore what truly matters. In this way, our moments of retreat become a source of strength, guiding us toward lives that are richer, more intentional, and deeply connected to our authentic selves. In a world that often demands our constant attention and engagement, establishing boundaries can feel like an act of rebellion. We live in an age where notifications, social media, and endless obligations can drown out our inner voice, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. The truth is, boundaries are not just helpful, they are essential for our well-being and for cultivating a life that feels authentic and aligned with our values. Setting boundaries is about recognizing our limits and honoring our needs. It's a declaration that our time and energy are valuable and that we have the right to protect them. In a society that glorifies hustle and constant availability, it's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to every request, every invitation, and every demand. However, every time we stretch ourselves too thin, we risk losing sight of who we are and what truly matters to us. Establishing boundaries means we must first engage in deep self-reflection. What are our priorities? What drains our energy? What uplifts us? By understanding ourselves better, we can create boundaries that serve us and foster healthier relationships. It's about being intentional with how we allocate our time and emotional resources and recognizing that we don't owe anyone an explanation for our choices. When we communicate our boundaries, we invite others to honor our needs, and this sets the tone for healthier interactions. This can be challenging, especially if we're used to people pleasing or fear disappointing others. However, it's essential to remember that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's a form of self-respect. It's an invitation for others to engage with us in a way that respects our limits and honors our authenticity. In establishing boundaries, we also create a space for deeper connection. By being honest about what we can and cannot offer, we pave the way for more meaningful relationships. When we show up authentically, we give others permission to do the same. This fosters a sense of trust and vulnerability that enriches our connections and cultivates a sense of community built on mutual respect. Furthermore, boundaries help us maintain our emotional and mental health in a noisy world. They provide a protective shield against burnout, anxiety, and stress. When we allow ourselves to step back from what doesn't serve us, we can focus on what truly uplifts and inspires us. It's in this space that we can recharge, reflect, and reconnect with our authentic selves. It's important to recognize that boundaries are not set in stone. They can and should evolve as we grow and change. Life is dynamic and our needs will shift. Being adaptable and open to reassessing our boundaries is crucial for maintaining our well-being. This flexibility allows us to stay attuned to our inner voice, ensuring that we are always honoring our authentic selves. In essence, boundaries in a noisy world serve as a powerful act of self-care and self-compassion. They remind us that we have the agency to choose how we engage with the world around us. By establishing and communicating our limits, we create a life that feels more intentional and grounded, allowing us to thrive rather than merely survive in the chaos. In this journey, we discover that honoring our boundaries is not just about saying no, it's about saying yes to ourselves and the life we truly want to lead.